Hey guys, Ben here with Talking Board Games. I am once again without my partner in crime, Tommy. He is back from his adventures of who knows what, who knows where, but he's going to be joining us soon, just not this time. So, in the meantime, while he is still MIA, I thought I'd do a comparison video on a couple different games that I'm going to refer to as abstract strategy. Did you catch that? You did, didn't you? Abstract strategy. Yeah. Yep, it's a thing now. So, all three of these games I feel like are perfectly themed and implemented to be brought to us in app format. And one of these already is, and I'm sure the other two may not be very far behind. So, these are three games that we're going to do a quick comparison of, and I'll tell you my thoughts and probably my favorite one. Anyways, let's get to it. Okay, first up in the right corner, left, right, we have Azul. Azul by Plan B Games has been an instant success. It was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres and has pretty much sold out during every print run that it has been printed. So, next up, Dragon Castle, a game originally put out by Horrible Games, released last Essen, and recently brought into the States by Simon. And then lastly, Potion Explosion, also by Horrible Games, and brought to us by Simon. I didn't really even think about the fact that those games are very similar in that aspect. Anyways, all three of these games I feel like would be perfect to be played on an app. One of them actually is. If you can't guess which one, it's this one. So let me quickly talk about each one individually, and then we'll jump into some comparisons. So Azul is a tile drafting game. You and your opponents will be drafting tiles from the center of the table, trying to mosaic them into your individual player board, scoring points for completing rows, completing columns, getting 5 of a color, adjacency bonuses, a number of different things. And that's pretty much it. You're just drafting and placing tiles, trying to avoid taking any negative points. A very simple, very abstract game. But one I really enjoy. That's Azul. Dragon Castle is a game where you would, I guess, be referred to as drafting tiles. You're going to have a mahjong-like tower, castle, as it is in the game, or a structure of various sorts, in which you will be drafting tiles from, putting them on your board, trying to get these to match, where you'll be flipping them over and adding little shrines on top. There can be various ways of scoring points, but basically the more shrines you have, the more points. The larger these clusters, you flip more points. And there are some endgame scoring cards that you can play with as well. But a unique little game, Dragon Castle. And last but not least, mostly because it was published first, we have Potion Explosion. Potion Explosion is a game very similar to those that you might know as Candy Crush, Bejeweled, where you're going to be removing things from a row or column of things, in this case, ingredients, and then you'll chain explosions where you'll get more and more things, in this case, ingredients, to complete objectives, which are potions. And as you complete these potions, they will give you special abilities and points that you can use to further complete more potions. Trying to be the first to score a like number of potions or a varied set of potions. Yeah. If you didn't catch on there, it's exploding potion ingredients. Basically, the game. Okay, so first, let's talk about component quality. All three games have fantastic components. which is kind of ironic because these are games that could be played as an app with no components other than your phone. But all three have fantastic components, chunky, thick, heavy tiles, real marbles, the little conveyor belt thing for the potion ingredients. But if I had to pick the game with the best components, oh man, I hate to do this because they're all so good. I think that I'd have to go with Dragon Castle. Mainly because you get the added shrines that you can add on top, and the art for the different cards is just gorgeous. I wish the player boards were maybe of a thicker cardboard, kind of like Azul. But other than that, the amount of tiles you have in this is ridiculous. And they're just great. They're super tactile, engraved. Yeah. So, as far as components go, I give the edge, just barely, it kills me to do it, to Dragon Castle. Okay, next up, let's talk about scalability. Scalability will be how well this game plays at different player counts. I believe all three of these games play 2 to 4 players, and they play similarly. So the issue with the scalability here is going to be that there is a board state that is going to be changing between your turns. And it makes it hard to plan or prepare for your upcoming turn when that board state is constantly changing between your turn. So in a 2-player game, the board state will change very little. You're going to have 1 player affecting it. Whereas in a 4-player game, you'll have 3 players affecting the board state before you get a chance to work with it again. And I think here I'm going to have to give the nod to, because it doesn't change as much, Azul. In Azul, you're going to have, in a 4-player game, like 9 factory tiles around the board. And at most, 3 of these are going to be affected. And it will be even less if someone chooses to take tiles from the center. Whereas in Potion Explosion and Dragon Castle, there may only be a couple moves available each round, and those will be used and taken by their players, creating more for you, but ones that didn't exist on the previous turn. So, scalability, I feel like Azul plays best at the various player counts. At 2 players, it is a little more mean because you could directly block your opponent much more easily. But I've enjoyed this at all player counts without a doubt. Azul. Okay, we're going to call this next topic Approachability. By approachability, I mean what is going to be the easiest thing to present to someone as a game and convince them to play it. Once again, they're all abstract strategy. Guys, you heard that? Abstract strategy games. And so there may not be 100% of a thematic appeal to any of them. But if I had to try and sell one of these games to one of my non-gaming friends, the one that I think I'd have the most luck with is Potion Explosion. The reason being is it has that very cool dispenser that the marbles are going to be rolling down. It's something that people are very familiar with as a concept of removing one thing and causing other things to chain off of it. The only thing you might hang up here is the actual potion abilities, but there's a symbol on each potion. Once they learn it, they'll have it down. It'll take a little bit of teaching time, but it can also be taught as you play the game since you will only have 2 potions in front of you at any given time. So, Potion Explosion is a great game to pull out and teach people because it is already an app and very similar to ones that people have probably already played. Okay, next we will talk strategic depth. Strategic depth refers to the amount of planning and forethought that you need to put into future turns. And you know what? I'm just going to come straight out and say it. This one is none of them. None of them really have any strategic planning. The board state changes so much that what you go into the game wanting to do is very rarely what you'll be able to do. You more or less have to tactically evaluate everything on any given turn and make the most of it. So, as far as strategy goes, I'm not going to give any of these games the nod strategically because they're all about the same with very little strategy. Please hold your comments. I'm probably going to hear about this. Okay, bring it on. No. Tell me what you think. Are these strategic games? Okay, next up we're going to talk about What game has the best or most rewarding puzzle? All of these games are very puzzly. It's the theme with abstract strategy games. But what game do I feel like presents the best puzzle to me each and every turn? And I feel like that one I'm going to have to give the nod to Azul. Because this one you can actually take negatives. If you're not careful, your opponents can force you to score a lot of negative points each round. And this game you can really tell someone who's experienced in it because they know not only how to get their tiles to fit in, but the best way to affect their opponents in the meantime. Whereas all the other games, I feel like there are always a few decent choices. This one, there's a couple very good choices that may not be as apparent. But if you can find those, you will definitely be rewarded for it. So, as far as a more in-depth strategy, or in-depth puzzle we'll call it, I give the nod to Azul. Okay, lastly, for me it is very important that a game have replayability. This is very ironic because I play very few of my games more than a handful of times in any given amount of time. I can tell you that so far this year I don't think I played any game more than 5 times. So, I don't know why it's so important they have that replayability, but it is. Just in case I do hang on to it for years and years and years, I don't want to grow tired of it. And so the game that I feel at this point, I haven't played this one as much as some of the others, but I feel like this one has the best replayability out of the box, and that is Dragon Castle. Dragon Castle has all these different spirit cards that you can use to give you a special ability that you can trigger, as well as dragon cards that will change some various form of scoring throughout the game or at end game, as well as a whole bunch of different setups to build up the initial tower that you're playing off of per player count. So I think just spirit cards and dragon cards alone, there's 10 each, so there are 100 different combinations there, which sounds crazy. I don't know how much it'll affect the game, like I said, down the road, but it's there, which is really cool. So as far as replayability goes, I give that nod to Dragon Castle. Here we come to the end of this video. I have shown you 3 great abstract strategy games. One that is an app, Potion Explosion, and one that's inspired by an app. Well, an app inspired by a game, Mahjong, which is Dragon Castle, and one which I call, without a doubt, an app being released for it within the next year, Azul, which after it wins the Spiel des Jahres, there will be no reason for it not to be made into an app. But of these 3 games, which one do I recommend the most? Which one is my preferred abstract strategy game? You know how a minute ago I said that there's only one game that I have played more than 6 times this year? That one game is none other than Azul. I absolutely love Azul. This game is just so beautiful. The pieces are fantastic. And it's so simplistic. All you have are those very non-necessary coasters, the factory tiles that you put the tiles on, and your player boards. And that's it. You're just drafting these tiles and adding them to your board. But the manner in which you approach that draft to both set yourself up on future turns, to penalize your opponents for playing recklessly, all that just is so sublime and so... This game, it's interesting. It's a family weight game, right? It's not complex. But there's not been a single time that I've played this with someone where we're sitting there around the table laughing and chatting because everyone is so focused on what's going on. They're staring at each and every one of those coasters, calculating out how many points they'd get if they get those 3 tiles here. But then looking at, well, what happens if player B takes that tile? Can I still get that tile there, which I need to finish this? And then you're looking forward to say, well, what happens the next round? Am I going to be able to finish that row below it so I can get that bonus for the adjacency? And everyone just sits there in silence and stares, praying that people don't take from the stack that they need, or they do take from the stack that they think that they'll take from, to free up in the middle of the tiles. It's just so good. I love Azul. It's one that I will be hanging on forever. It's one of my wife's favorite. So I highly recommend that you go out and play this game. It got nominated for the Spiel des Jahres for a reason. I want to conclude this video by saying that there is another Plan B, now this line of games known as Next Move games, coming out here real soon, which I'm very interested in because it's very different from Azul, but it fits this motif of an abstract strategy game, right? And that's Reef. So I'm going to be trying to get my hands on that very shortly to we'll compare it to these 3 games and see how it fits into my final enjoyment of what I think would be a very good collection of abstract strategy games. Ones that are beautiful, appealing to non-gamers and gamers alike. So, yeah, keep your eye open for a Reef review, hopefully over the next couple of months when that is released to us, because I didn't go to Origins. So I want to say thank you for watching. Hopefully this was beneficial to you because I feel like comparison videos do a lot in helping me make a decision because I don't have all the money to purchase all these games. And I know that a lot of you probably don't either. So maybe looking at them from which aspect of the game is more important to me might help guide your decision. And in this case, as you can see here, this Potion Explosion is not my game. This is a demo copy, which was provided by Game Grid here in Lehigh. We'd like to thank them for help making a lot of our reviews possible. So if you're in the area, please go by, check out their games. They got a bunch for sale, as well as a bunch for demo and rental, actually. So if you like this idea of Potion Explosion, go there, rent it, take it home, try it, and then if it likes you, I guess, maybe if it likes you. If you like it, go ahead and buy it. Add it to your collection. But anyways, as always, thank you for watching. And I'll once again do Tommy the favor of saying like, share, comment, subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.